I don't really know what else to say. I mean, Brissett shouldn't get much of the spotlight. He was solid. Nothing wrong with his play. Ramondre Stevenson, probably his best game ever. I mean, this was really, based on his impact, I understand he may have had statistically better games, sure. Based on his impact in this game, I think that this was probably his most notable.
Robert, granted, you have to admit, they beat the Bengals, who are considered to be playoff.
I understand, statistically, sure, you can make an argument.
No, I agree with you.
This team is not expected to be anything, and they beat a team that has been brought up in Super Bowl conversations by most talk show hosts on the major networks like ESPN. I mean, I'm just saying, this was a really phenomenal game.
Joe Burrow, what is up with him? Week 1 and 2, Joe Burrow has never ever been good. Last year he threw 4 picks.
He was injured for the entire this was his first game back in almost an entire year. But yeah, absolutely. Ramondre Stevenson, we don't win the game without him. He had a massive game. I want to talk a little bit about the offensive line, because going into it, I don't know if you watched the preseason games, but I don't think you did, and you should be happy that you didn't.
I unfortunately did.
Especially the last one, our offensive line, just the amount of false start and misalignment.
It was fumbled snaps as well.
It was fumbled snaps, couldn't snap the ball, couldn't line up properly, couldn't get a playoff. It was astonishing. I'd never seen anything like it. And of course, David Andrews wasn't playing, in some of our better offensive linemen were playing, but there were issues that we had last year, and we're thinking there's going to be the same issues this year. In terms of their pass protection, I think it was maybe not as bad as we were thinking, but it wasn't good. It was pretty bad. I mean, Jacoby Brissett he didn't get sacked very much, but the amount of times where he had to just hang in the pocket, wait for an eternity for a receiver to get open, and then fire a pass and get absolutely clobbered by a defensive lineman. And he took so many shots, he took so many hits, which was part of his role, Brissett. I mean, he is the fall guy, but Brissett, he came in there a pretty shaky pass protection offensive line. I think they did well for Stevenson in the run protection, but Brissett, he stepped in there, and the difference in the ability to manage a game, to command a huddle, to get players aligned, to make the right throws, to make the right decisions, to not throw interceptions. I mean, Brissett versus Zappy versus Mac Jones versus Cam Newton. I mean, it's night and day, in my opinion. I think Brissett came in there, did exactly what we needed him to do, and I thought he did pretty well. So, do we think Jacoby Brissett starting for the next several games, as long as we keep playing like this, is there really any issue with that?
I mean, that's kind of what the media is saying. That's kind of what, Mayo can't give out all the hints in the world. Obviously the Patriots organization moves in the darkness. I mean, they don't really say much. They're a very mysterious team. But I will say that there's no reason for him not to play at least 3 to 4 more weeks.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would say, at the same time, they probably don't want to disclose too much information to the public, as well as probably their quarterbacks, because they want them both to be trying their hardest to get that starting job or to maintain it. So, at that same time, I would think that they'd want that. And then also, just in general, I mean, I don't think every weekend is going to be a week where you beat a team like the Bengals. I mean, I think there are definitely going to be some losses in the next couple weeks, because that's kind of what's to be expected with this team, just because they just don't have enough firepower.
That's what's to be expected, but who knows? I mean, our next
who knows?
Next Sunday, Seahawks at home. That's a winnable game. That was of the first 4 games, people were looking at, all right, that's one game that we have a chance to win. The other 3 are on the road. We're losing all of them. We beat the Bengals. I think we have, especially with the confidence that we'll have from this game, Brissett, I think, is going to look a bit better. We might get Polk a little bit more involved. The passing game is not going to be a lot better than this with Brissett as quarterback, but it'll get a little bit better, I think, as the team gets more comfortable. I think we have a legit shot at winning next week, but I want to talk about this Patriots season in general. I think we were betting favorites to be the worst team in the league this year. I